Welcome to the channel and welcome to yet another very dark episode on the Dutch Pagans channel. This land that I'm standing on right now, that land that is beneath my feet, a place that is nowadays referred to as the Netherlands. They have one spirit of the land that is rather well known. We have several, but there's one that is well known. And that is the gnomes, or as we say, kabouters. You see him here, drawn by artist Rien Poortvliet. We also call them the aardmannetjes, which translates to the men of the earth. So this is an earth spirit. Today, tonight, here in my shed, you and me, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story, or at least a synopsis of a story of the king of the gnomes, KabouterKoning Kyrië, or just Kyrië for short. We'll tell you the story. I will discuss the symbolism of this story. And in the third part of this video, believe it or not, I will tell you my personal experience with KabouterKoning Kyrië. Because I know what you're thinking. If you can talk to the gods, if you can make an offering to the gods, if you can somehow petition or try to petition a god, can you try to petition KabouterKoning Kyrië? That's what I try to do. So I'll let you know the results later on in this video. So first the story, brief synopsis, so I can get to the other part of the video quick. I forgot which village it is again. It's in the Dutch village of, yeah, there it was. Very old tale. In this place, the people and the gnomes, they live together in harmony. Now, by the way, there are many stories where KabouterKoning Kyrië is featured, but I'm going to tell you the most famous one, most well known, where he's the center of attention, and that's about his death. In this village, people lived in harmony with nature. So the gnomes, the kabouters, they helped the people, as is so often the case in these tales of lowlandic earth spirits. They help at night with difficult tasks. Sometimes they keep your living quarters clean. Sometimes they help with preparing your shoes. They help around the house. As they did in this whole village. They only asked for one thing. They came in at night. And they wanted to be left alone. They didn't want anybody to see them. So this went on for hundreds of years. People living in harmony with nature and spirits of the land helping them. But once there was a hunter. Went out hunting. Shot his gun. And when he shot, he realized he had killed a gnome. He was shocked. Suddenly you hear the voice from the village. KabouterKoning Kyrië is dead. The king has died. He was completely shocked. He went back home to his wife, sat at the dinner table, and he says, "You won't believe, I killed a gnome. I killed the king of the gnomes." And when he said that, he heard a voice from below his house. KabouterKoning Kyrië is dead. So the gnomes, they were very sad. And that was the day that they left the village. One farmer was curious. So he snuck in the forest at night and he saw a procession of thousands and thousands of gnomes leaving the area, never to return again. And that's the last time the people of that village have received help or seen a gnome. That is very short the story of KabouterKoning Kyrië. Now, what could the symbolism mean? Well, it has similarities to another great pagan tale, a Greek pagan tale. There are some similarities to Pan. There's like overlap. Because the Greek god Pan is god of the wild, the god of nature. So it's also very akin to a nature spirit. And Pan also lives in the world with humans, but not exactly with humans. In the tale where Pan is killed, there's also just this rumor being spread. Pan is dead, Pan is dead. Have you heard? Pan is dead. Because Pan symbolizes the wild. It is said that that tale of the god Pan dying is actually the moment that nature was fully explored and fully subjugated by man, and therefore this wild element, this unknown element, was gone, and therefore the god Pan is dead. Now you could see it in those lines too, because the gnomes are also like earth spirit. So you could see it that when they left, that means the line that humans had in Holland with the earth and the earth spirit was severed. It could also mean that the church came and therefore that line was cut. Because there are lots of stories where there are gnomes, but they're irritated and scared off by the church bells. They don't like that sound. So it could be that the church and the influence of the church made the people lose the connection to the land. Now, I'm going to tell you my experiences with KabouterKoning Kyrië. This video started, by the way, I think 2 years ago. 2 years ago I watched a video by Thomas Sheridan. If you don't follow him, please do. He has a 14 channel called Beyond Room 313. A lot of my followers are also Thomas Sheridan followers. And he told me that in Ireland there's an entity called Oberon. And Oberon is known as the king of the fairies. And the king of the fairies is very playful and very helpful. So if you have a problem, you can ask him for help. You can kind of petition him because he's playful and he wants to interact with the world of humans. So when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. In Ireland they have the king of the fairies. We have the king of the gnomes. I never thought about that. Can you petition the king of the gnomes? I had that thought, and then my life just went on the way it is. And about half a year later, I had a problem. Me and my girlfriend, we live together. We have three beautiful children. We both have our jobs. We both have our hobbies. Everything's busy all the time. And we got into an argument. Now, when you have a relationship, what are most arguments about? Yes. Housework. We had an argument about the chores. And there was a build-up of energy. And I got mad and I called my girlfriend some names I shouldn't have called her. Because of frustration. And I thought, this is a real problem. But I have a problem with chores around the house. What are gnomes known for? Chores around the house. I think I have the best problem to petition KabouterKoning Kyrië. So that's what I started to do. Because, you know, apparently that's what I do. You don't seek help a normal way. You just try to petition some long gone spirit. That's what I do for fun. Anyway. And then I talk about it here on camera with you. And you're watching that right now. So what I started to do is I started to say his name. KabouterKoning Kyrië. KabouterKoning Kyrië. KabouterKoning Kyrië. Because the old saying is, a named thing is a tamed thing. And what that means is it doesn't mean that when you have a name of something that you can summon it. Like that when you say Odin's name that he automatically shows up or something. That the gods are like dogs that you can just yell and they show up. They are like these larger than life cosmic forces and we are just humans who also have a bit of this cosmic force inside of us, by the way, but we're not the same. You can't command it. So what does it mean? Well, I read somewhere in a book by Aleister Crowley. He worded it beautifully and he said, when you say an entity's name, You get a feeling in the air. And then you can attune yourself to its light. And I love that. When you say the name, you can kind of get a feeling in the air of what it is. So after saying his name a couple of times and being quiet in myself, closing my eyes, getting my staff, holding on to it, like my axis mundi, holding it on like my own Yggdrasil. See if I can somehow meet KabouterKoning Kyrië halfway. Be honest, I don't know if I did. I know I felt something and I said, listen, KabouterKoning Kyrië, I don't know. But your help is very much appreciated. I left the offering one night. And the next day, I couldn't tell you if it was truly accepted. A Hindu once told me in Indonesia, he said, you can leave an offering anytime. If the other side from the other world will accept it, that's the question. So I don't know if it was accepted, but my problem was solved a couple of weeks later. Was it solved by gnomes magically coming through my chimney and out of my fireplace and polishing my shoes and cleaning up my shit that I was supposed to clean up myself? No, not quite. And if it did, I probably wouldn't tell you because that would scare off the gnomes. Haven't you learned anything from that story I told you? What happened is I met somebody who offered to help. What basically means is we hired a cleaning lady. Now you go like, that's not a really paranormal, a really Fortean solution to your problems. But the funny thing is, because we both have jobs, we have kids, so it's just a lot. So practically we have to somebody come over and just like 3 hours a week help us with stuff that we don't get to ourselves. But you know how it is when the cleaning lady comes. If you don't know how it is, I'm going to tell you right now, your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other will start to clean even more because she doesn't want the cleaning lady to come in your house and to say, what a bunch of fucking pigs. So we both started cleaning up our act more in order to get the cleaning lady going. So was it KabouterKoning Kyrië? I can't tell you for sure. But I can tell you this. If you've tried everything else and your house is still a mess, why not call KabouterKoning Kyrië? But if you do so, please do so with a pure heart, a pure intention, and a good offering. Maybe some stroopwafels or some porridge. He likes that. Since I've got some time left, maybe some of you are wondering, like, is this all real? Are the gnomes real? It's a really good question. When I grew up, a friend of my parents wasn't spiritual, he just did a lot of drugs. So he did drugs, he did like mushrooms in the forest, and he saw gnomes everywhere. So he laughed his ass off. He's like, look at all these gnomes, I'm tripping balls. Ha ha! You know, good story. And then he saw a book by Rien Poortvliet, a famous Dutch artist who's famous for drawing gnomes. And he saw that the gnomes that Rien Poortvliet drew were exactly the same gnomes that he saw. Every detail was right. So when he saw those books, he turned pale. And he was like, we both saw the same thing. Maybe I wasn't tripping. Because when you're tripping, a lot of the times you aren't tripping. You're just seeing more of reality as it is. So as far as I'm concerned, the gnomes are real. But you do have to kind of broaden up your definition of what real is, because the normal Western civilization definition of what's real is, well, can we catch it? Can we kill it? Can we cut it open? Then it's real. But there are things in this world that you can't catch, that you can't measure, that you can't cut open, and that are real. And I believe that the gnomes are one of those things. Thanks a million for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And I'll see you all next week. Ga met de goden!